Well, hello everyone. This is Carrie back with How to Homeschool My Child, and I am so happy to be here with you today. You know, the week before Christmas and New Year's, sometimes there's a lot going on, and then sometimes it's sort of a downer. You've been up, 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 all this excitement, and now what do you do between Christmas and New Year's? It's also the end of the year, and we want to finish strong, but I thought everyone always says, finish strong, finish strong. Well, today I decided let's finish with fun. Let's finish with fun. Let's encourage our kids to love learning no matter what. And so I'm going to just share a few ideas of things that I think would be fun to do this year and yet educational at the same time. And so anyway, we're just going to hop right in and let me share a few ideas. The number one thing I have been saying over and over again since like last October is you really do need to take a break from homeschool, traditional homeschool. We never quit reading aloud. Even this week, we would still be reading aloud. And so we continue to read aloud each day. Now, I thought a fun way to be able to read aloud is give mom a break or give dad a break and use an audio book. Jim Hodges, and I'll put a link to some of these things after I finish the video, but Jim Hodges has some audio books that you could use, and that would be a fun way for you to do your read alouds this week. He actually has a free one that you can get on his website. And like I said, I will put a link to that as well. So I think it's important that we do take a break, and so that would be the fun that we can do, is take a break from regular read aloud and listen to an audiobook. Listen to it in the car while you're driving to grandma's if you're still traveling around. Let me tell you, last week I remembered what you're going through, because in this house we had families, my kids, my grandkids were coming and going, and I'd sort of forgotten how you don't get everything done that you really want to get done, and even that was work. And so I had to sort of back off, and I'm sort of making up for that this week. So I think it's really important that we take a break. One of the things that I did get done last week was I got to go out and play on our fort with my grandkids and watch them slide down the slide. That is important, and that is something fun. Relationship building is just as important. I would say even more important than all the academics. Because if you build a good relationship with your children, you can always come along and help them learn something, but you are lifetime friends. My kids were all here. Everyone was here last Wednesday. But they were all here in and out. Great. And the other thing we did is we had some great conversations. Hunter and I drove to Dallas, drove to Austin, and then came back over here all in 3 days. And we had some great conversations. We brainstormed some ideas about things I'm going to be doing next year in our business. But with your kids, have some fun times. One of the things you can do is play games. Now, in my homeschool group, there was a game recommended to us, and I bought it for one of my son-in-laws. I wish I had it here and I could do it, but it was the Row Throw Burrito, and we played it while we were at their house last week, and everyone had a blast. Now, I don't know how educational it is. It does require thinking. My 6-year-old and my 3-year-old, they actually had to match and get 3 of a kind to be able to do the different activities. But I mean, we were throwing this burrito at the same time, and we were having duels where you're like this, and they count, you 1, 2, 3, and who can throw the burrito. Find some fun things that you can do together as a family. Another thing, I mentioned read alouds, I've mentioned games. Another thing is maybe dive into some whatever course that you don't have time to do during the regular school year. I thought of like learning how to play the piano or learning sign language. I don't even remember sign language. I used to know it. But learning sign language, take a little bit of time. Maybe music appreciation. Gina Mayo has a great course. I'm going to send you a link for that as well. And it's free. And so those are some fun things that you could be doing this week as well. And so the one thing I would say about the course is let your kids make the choice. Maybe find 4 or 5 things you think they would like to do. Maybe some sort of art lesson, music lesson. Find some things that are fun for them to do this week that they would actually be learning, things that you don't have time to do all week long. I mean, during the rest of the year. Let your kids choose. Another thing would be to have some family dramas. I don't mean like, oh, drama. I mean, let your kids act out some stories. They could continue to act out the Christmas story. They could act out the wise men. Did you know that on January 6th, is Three Kings Day or the Day of Epiphany. If you want more information about things you can do, you can look at our Christmas celebrations. It says celebrate Advent, Christmas, and Epiphany. And so that is what you could do. Between now and January 6th, you could act out the story of the three kings following the star. The other thing is you could get on and look at some of the YouTube videos for the Star of Bethlehem that actually occurred last Monday. It's been 800 years since the convergence, I won't tell you what it is, most of you probably already know, of those planets came together and the wise men followed. This gives you ideas that you can use for celebrating the Day of Epiphany or Three Kings Day. One thing I also did this year, for the first time I got organized, and if you count the days from Christmas to Three Kings Day or Epiphany, it is 12 days. You see, the 12 days of Christmas actually are intended to be celebrated afterwards. I found this book, The 12 Days of Christmas, at the library. And I actually, with the kids, when I was at my older grandkids, we sat and read it. Actually, the older one would sing it with me. On the first day of Christmas, my true love gave to me a partridge in a pear tree. The thing is, this has a lot of symbolism. And this symbol, the partridge in a pear tree, is basically Jesus in the manger. He has come to earth. They were having to speak in code because it was illegal to talk about Jesus back when this song was written. So what I did was actually go get some sandwich bag, like lunch bags, those little brown bags, and I'll post a picture here in a comment. But I numbered them 1 through 12, and there's a very small gift in each one of them that represents the meaning behind the 12 days of Christmas. So on day 1, when they opened it, they received a Jesus coloring book, an activity book that would remind them of Jesus. And so that's what they got. If you haven't started and you want to do it, you could do 2 a day and catch up to where you did January 26th. The next one, on the second day of Christmas, my true love gave to me 2 turtle doves. And that stands for the Old Testament and the New Testament. And we talked about how the Word of God is the bread of life. We need to be eating spiritually, and we eat it there. And so I made some homemade bread. I also had honey, and honey is Psalm 19 talks about how the decrees of the Lord are sweeter than honey. And she was like, what do you mean sweeter than honey? And so we had an opportunity at breakfast to talk about it. Now, I'm not going to go through all 12 here. If you are interested in doing that, I would recommend looking at Christmas celebrations, Advent, Christmas, and Epiphany, and look at the Epiphany page. I will just show you real quickly what it's going to look like. And you're going to get these ideas. It tells you what it means. It gives you some gift ideas, a little bit of background, and then a homeschool tie-in for each one. That's the second day of Christmas, and that's where I got the bread idea. I didn't think of it all on my own. So this might help you between Christmas and New Year's, just something fun. But acting out, doing some dramas where the kids act out things. If you would like some of the Star of Bethlehem videos, I would recommend joining our How to Homeschool My Child Facebook page. We've had moms posting videos and pictures of what they saw last Monday night. It was so cool, and I didn't really expect them to do all of that. I also posted some YouTube videos that if you missed it, or like where we were, we couldn't see it. It was cloudy, and there was so much city lights that I couldn't find it. And my kids had taken all the cars, so I couldn't even like get in the car and go to a park. So I had to watch videos myself. All right, another thing you could be doing right now are nature studies. Go outside, enjoy the outdoors. Even if it's snowing, there are things you can learn about snow. My neighbor down the street, her husband was in med school, and they lived in New York. And she said every day she'd bundle all her kids. They were all like 5 and under. She'd send them outside, and she'd lock the door. But she was like, they need to be outside. Our kids need to be outside. Do some nature studies. Go and look and see what's going on. Take a walk and see what's going on around your neighborhood. And then the star videos would also tie into nature as far as astronomy. Let's see, what else? Oh, another thing. Now, this may not be fun, but it's necessary, and that is we need to be writing thank you notes for any of the gifts that your kids received. My kids had to write thank you notes to at least always to their grandparents. And so what I have is a template and a printable how to write a thank you letter, and I will link that on here as well. But basically they're just answering sentence questions, and then they use their information to write complete sentences and write it more than just thank you for the game you gave me, because they're going to have to think about how do you like the gift, how would you use the gift, write another sentence about why you are thankful. Anyway, this would be something, and it is completely free, but it's on my website and you can get that as well. My kids all complain. I'll just give you a heads up, your kids are probably going to complain. They all complained about writing thank you notes, but they all as adults have said, Mom, thank you so much for making us write thank you notes. We are so glad that you made us write thank you notes, because it's made a real difference in our life as adults, in our relationships, in business, in our church, writing thank you notes. Ashley used to, when she was over the children's department, every week she would send 3 or 4 postcards out to each of the workers that were working with her. Hunter, when he would network, he always wrote handwritten thank you notes to the people that he would meet, say at a coffee or maybe at an evening happy hour. Gentry continues to write thank you notes to the people that she is working with as well. So another thing you could do is memorize a Bible verse this week all together, and as you memorize it, play a game. You might play hangman and have a whiteboard and you could use words for each of the lines instead of letters, and then your kids have to guess words and have to guess what verse you're actually doing. Another thing is you could play popcorn. I say a word of the verse, you say a word of the verse, and you go around the circle and everyone's saying just one word, and you keep practicing it so that it becomes a part of who they are. Another one would be tic-tac-toe. Maybe you've learned a lot of verses this week or this semester, and you're going to play tic-tac-toe, but the way you get your X is to be able to recite a verse. You maybe pick a card out. I also have some verses specifically on our Advent themes that you could continue working on. They are on love, joy, peace, and hope. And again, if you go to my homeschool website, Facebook page, they are listed and there's a topic there. And I didn't get them every single day, but I would say each week has at least 4 to 7 verses that you can look up and discuss. And then I've already talked about the 12 days of Christmas. I sort of got out of order. So that's another thing that you can do this week. Now, if you have any ideas, and we've had people popping in and out, I meant to say, hey, leave a comment while you're here. I would love for you to do that. But if you would like to, I am going to give away one of these Christmas celebration ebooks, and the way that you would enter it is to actually leave a comment, and we'll have it all the way through this Monday. We'll give it away on Friday. But if you would like to enter and win this, you may enter and just name one thing from the video that you hope to do this week with your kids to add fun, to finish 2020 with fun. Now, if you go ahead and buy this, I will just refund your money. So if you really want to use this, especially for 12 days of Christmas, 3 Kings Day and Epiphany, and there's some information about how to do a meal for that as well, then I'll just refund it. Go ahead and grab it, and then if you win, then I will refund that money. I want to close with that also. Ashley and Jesse, my son-in-law, grew up celebrating 3 Kings Day. He's from Mexico. They actually celebrated it in January, like January 21st, I think. But I think they're going to go ahead and do it on January 6th this time. And I didn't give my kids a special gift for the 12th day of Christmas because they've saved a special board game. And they've decided they want something special on 3 Kings Day that's a family gift. The other thing I want to mention is the gifts that are mentioned here. Almost everything I gave were family gifts. It wasn't like I had to go buy, if I had 5 grandkids, 5 of something. Although the activity books, I gave them 2, and I think one day they get some pens, and I just bought them. I just got them each their own pack. I found half of the stuff at the dollar store, Dollar Tree. So I really spent all the gifts all together were probably less than $15 or $20. So, and that was for 12 gifts because some of them were just things around the house that we were giving or baking bread. So those are just a few ideas. I am Carrie Beck with How to Homeschool My Child. Thanks for spending time with me today. And if you have any questions, pop them in the comments, and I will be sharing some of the links as well in the comments so that you can go find all the things that I talked about. Y'all have a great day.